Good evening. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler. Welcome to the weather map discussion for Wednesday, the 17th of August, 2022. Let's go ahead and get right into the latest weather maps, and we'll go ahead and break down some of the key elements of these weather maps. First thing we want to take a look at is this evening's current satellite and radar image. Generally, let me go ahead and break out my utensil here. All right, so what we have going on at the present time, anywhere on this enhanced IR that you see the orange coloring, the lighter orange and green coloring, that's generally indicative of very cold cloud tops. And when you get very cold cloud tops, that generally equates to very tall clouds in the atmosphere. And so you can see there's some taller, colder cloud tops across parts of northeastern Florida this evening, along Interstate 10 into the Florida Panhandle and Pensacola area, on towards Interstate 20 towards Dallas-Fort Worth. And then back towards the desert southwest, you can see a lot of cooler cloud tops associated with this particular satellite imagery. You also have some cooler cloud tops across the northern plains states. If you look at the latest radar image of the United States this evening, on the 17th of August, 2022, we do have an area of low pressure that's situated off of the coast of New England, and there's a lot of rainfall. A lot of rainfall from Caribou, Maine, right on down north of Boston into Vermont, New Hampshire, just west of Boston, actually, in the southeastern New York State. There's a lot of that going on this evening, as there's an area of low pressure just off the New England coast. There's an area of higher pressure that is building in. It's very weak across the Ohio River Valley. If you look along the Gulf Coast states, there's a lot of radar returns showing up, some scattered showers and thunderstorms from Jacksonville on over towards the Florida Panhandle, as well as just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, extending back west into western Texas. A lot of moisture is lingering across parts of Oregon as well as Nevada and California at the present time. Looking now at some of the weather maps or charts, let's take a look at right now. This was earlier today on the 17th of August. What we have is 300 millibar wind speeds on both of these images. The graphic on the left indicates what the overall wind speeds look like at 300 millibars or 30,000 feet earlier this morning. And then this is the forecast image on the right for Thursday, the 18th of August, 2022. So what you'll notice is the scale here in the vertical, which generally gives you a wind speed range. Green coloring indicates wind speeds on the order of 64 to 72 knots, the darker green. The lighter green speeds on the order of 72 to 80 knots. Technically, to constitute a jet stream, we need winds of 50 knots or greater. So right now what we have going on is a long wave pattern, which we're having stronger wind speeds moving across the Dakotas, extending through Kansas, across the Missouri River Valley, right on down through parts of the Deep South, from just south of Memphis, across North Carolina, and across southeastern Virginia, and then pivoting out to sea over the North Atlantic. So the general long wave trough and ridge position, we have an upper level ridge which is situated over the, just backing up towards the desert southwest, with ridging extending northward into the Pacific Northwest and into western Canada, which is resulting in very warm temperatures across parts of Idaho, as well as eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. And we also have cooler temperatures generally over the upper Midwest into New England. And it's been a fairly nice day, even as far south as the Interstate 64 area in Virginia, where dew points dropped into the 60s this afternoon. So it was really, really pleasant weather. Looking at the 500 millibar heights and wind speeds, we're also showing cyclonic relative vorticity in this case. Anywhere where you see like the orange colors or the green colors or the blues, that indicates positive vorticity. Now the blues equate to some fairly weak positive relative vorticity on the order of 4 to 8. 4 to 8, that's the value associated with that vorticity. Generally, we have a shortwave trough at 500 millibars extending down through the mid-Atlantic states, we have a shortwave ridge, which is expanding into western Canada, from the Pacific Northwest to the western Canada, British Columbia and Alberta. We're getting downsloping winds there. On the east side of the Rockies in Alberta, Canada, and downsloping winds. Any wind that moves downslope is going to heat and compress, so very warm temperatures for the Alberta province in Canada. In addition, here is the image for tomorrow. Not much change. We have an upper level low closed off at 500 millibars, situated over southeastern Maine, and so we still have some potential lifting going on across Massachusetts into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine tomorrow morning on the 18th of August. We still see that shortwave trough general position across the eastern U.S. and a shortwave ridge across the western U.S. Looking at 700 millibar level, this is about 10,000 feet above the ground. We're showing you vertical velocity. Generally, the blues, greens, yellows, and reds equate to positive vertical velocity, which is associated with potential lift in the atmosphere, right on at the 700 millibar level in this case. And there's a lot of little spokes of vertical velocity in the positive of microbars per second, generally over the northwestern Atlantic. It's association with that, in association with that upper level closed low off the Gulf of Maine. And then we also have some additional vertical lift, positive values, vertical velocity values across the deep south, the Gulf Coast states for this morning. For the forecast for tomorrow, generally the same type of areas are going to see that lifting at 700 millibars at 10,000 feet. Right along the Gulf Coast, we can expect some more scattered showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow, the 18th of August, 2022. In addition, there is a little bit of monsoonal moisture across the southwestern U.S. over parts of Arizona and into Nevada. And that moisture pivots around this upper level high, generally on the back side of it, warm moist flow on into eastern parts of Oregon. Looking at the 850 millibar level, the wind heights and vorticity. This is the map from earlier today on the 17th of August. Again, the main focus, we have a closed low at 850 millibars or 5,000 feet above the ground level. We also have a positive vorticity values associated with this red coloring, indicating lifting going on up at 5,000 feet or 850 millibars. We also have a little bit of positive relative vorticity at 850 millibars across parts of Missouri, northern Arkansas, into the deep south. Interstate 20 corridor, Atlanta, Birmingham. And then if you look on the forecast on the right-hand panel here, the 850 millibar wind heights and vorticity for tomorrow, we still have a closed low that is situated over eastern Maine at 850 millibars, and we do have a lot of vorticity there across parts of Maine. So we do expect some lift, a lot of lift actually, vertical lifting at 850 millibars, at 700 millibars, as well as 500 millibars tomorrow over parts of Maine. So we do expect those showers to linger over that part of the U.S. We also see a minor shortwave trough extending from eastern North Dakota southwestward into western Nebraska. This could also result in some scattered showers and storms up in this part of the northern plains in particular. Looking at the surface analysis from NOAA today on Wednesday, the 17th of August, 2022, what we have going on is we have higher pressure situated over the Great Lakes. It's ridging southeastward. We have an area of low pressure off Cape Hatteras. And we do have a stalled frontal boundary which extends across the North Atlantic, off the coast of the Mid-Atlantic, on down into the Interstate 10 corridor. We see a stalled or stationary frontal boundary with waves of low pressure along it. We do see that this 1,008 millibar low off the coast of Maine, that is a major feature resulting in a lot of wet weather today across parts of New England as the moisture pivoted around this counterclockwise circulation around that low offshore. There is a new cold front that is coming into northern Montana. We do have some cooler readings behind it over parts of western Canada trying to move inward, southeastward into the United States. So that's really the main players on the surface analysis for today. Looking at the wind forecast for tomorrow, let's look at some of the forecast panels for tomorrow. If you got any travel plans, where will the highest wind speeds be? Generally, what we're looking at, highest wind speeds off the Maine coast tomorrow, off of New England. where wind speeds could range from 15 to 20 knots. A very limited amount of wind speeds, higher wind speeds for tomorrow if you're making any travel plans across Interstate 94 in North Dakota, Interstate 90 in South Dakota. We do have some of the winds picking up, and this is mostly from the northerly direction. So if you're traveling east-west on these interstates, you're most likely going to have more of a perpendicular wind component. We also have higher wind speeds located off the California coast, which is typical for this time of year, where the winds could be 20 to 25 knots from the northwest. That's associated with the sharp thermal gradient between the cooler Pacific Ocean waters and the hot California valleys. The San Joaquin Valley is an example. Precipitation forecast for tomorrow. This is tomorrow morning on the left. This is tomorrow evening on the right. Generally what we're looking at is pockets of rainfall expected tomorrow across portions of New England from Maine to New Hampshire, Vermont. We also have some more showers and thunderstorms over the western North Atlantic along that stationary frontal boundary with those distinct waves of low pressure riding along the front. We also have areas of showers and thunderstorms if you're traveling Interstate 10 across Fort Walton Beach, over to Destin, over to Pensacola, over to Mobile, and ultimately through Biloxi on over to New Orleans, and parts of Slidell, Shreveport, Louisiana, as well as northern Texas, parts of far northeastern Texas, just north of Dallas-Fort Worth, as well as in the Texas Panhandle. There also could be some scattered showers and thunderstorms, if you look at the image here on the right, associated with monsoonal moisture, which is moving into this particular area of Arizona and southern Utah. Notice, as time goes on tomorrow, this area of showers and thunderstorms does tend to blossom in aerial coverage. So parts of northern Minnesota, central Minnesota, and eastern North Dakota, if you're traveling Interstate 94, north of Minneapolis, north of that particular area, you're going to get more showers as well. Also, typical showers along the Florida Peninsula tomorrow and into southern Georgia as well. Looking at the forecast high and low temperatures for the 18th of August 2022, the forecast high temperatures are on the left, the forecast low temperatures are on the right. In general, this is the blended product produced by NOAA. I'm going with the blended forecast temperatures. Generally, these brown colorings, these indicate the hottest temperatures across the United States. So we're expecting 90 degree plus temperatures for highs tomorrow across the Florida Peninsula, as well as parts of southern Louisiana, parts of south central Texas and the southeastern Texas. Houston is in this area, high tomorrow of 95 on down the coast to Brownsville, Corpus Christi, with high temperatures 94 and 95 respectively. We also have hot temperatures in the California valleys, which is expected for this time of year, with highs ranging from 106, 104 on up into the valley there, 105. And then the heat still continues tomorrow across parts of Idaho, where Boise is looking at a high of 100 degrees, and parts of eastern Washington State and eastern Oregon, where high temperatures could easily reach 95 to 100 degrees. In some cases, parts of eastern Washington exceeding 100 degree mark. There's even some heat along the immediate coast near Portland up to Seattle tomorrow with high temperatures in the 90s. If you want to escape that heat, go up to the northern plain states where you have more comfortable high temperatures, a high of 80 in Minneapolis, a high of 74 in Bismarck, North Dakota, looking nice there. Parts of lower Michigan looking nice with high temperatures in the lower 80s, Chicago 83, on over down the Appalachian Mountains, high temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, looking really nice. With the clouds and the rainfall across Maine, we're expecting temperatures in the 60s for highs tomorrow. So very fall-like up in parts of northern New England tomorrow with the thicker low cloud coverage, stratus clouds. Looking at the low temperatures tomorrow night, generally we have the warmest temperatures overnight tomorrow night, generally south of Interstate 40, from Memphis on through Little Rock, Arkansas, Oklahoma City. Low temperatures are going to be between 70 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit going overnight tomorrow night into Friday morning. Additionally, we have very warm low temperatures up to Vegas, 84 degrees Friday morning. And then parts of the desert areas, Palm Springs, low temperatures remain in the lower 80s overnight tomorrow night. And then even low temperatures around 70 degrees, 72 degrees up near Portland for Friday morning. If you look at where you want the cooler temperatures, go to the upper Midwest, where overnight lows are 61 in Chicago, 60, looks like 60 in Milwaukee, 61 in Minneapolis, and then parts of New England as well, right on down the Appalachian Trail with low temperatures in the 50s for Friday morning. A lot of 50s in Pennsylvania up to New York State, as well as parts of New England. So that's the general forecast for the temperature, high and low temperatures for tomorrow. Here is the official NOAA outlook, the next 6 to 10 day outlook, which was issued earlier today. Over here on the left, we have temperature outlooks. These are probabilities of occurrence on the bottom. So right now, based on the long-range ensemble models, we're looking at general ridge, an upper-level ridge, parked over the northwestern U.S. With above normal, higher probability, 80 to 90% chance of above normal temperatures, continuing for parts of Oregon and Washington State. And then another above normal area with higher confidence across parts of southeastern Maine into southern New Hampshire, including Massachusetts, the Boston metro area, as well as Providence, Rhode Island, into and close to Hartford, Connecticut. The below normal temperatures are looking to be over the areas that have been hottest recently in Texas, western parts of Texas on into the southern plain states. Looking at the precipitation map, generally over the 6 to 10 day period, below normal temperatures associated with the upper level ridge is going to remain dry over the Pacific Northwest. We should see more above normal precipitation across parts of the Tennessee Valley from Nashville westward to Memphis onto Little Rock, parts of southeastern Oklahoma down to Dallas, Fort Worth. So generally above normal, higher probabilities of above normal precipitation in those locations. Looking at the tropics. Now, right now, things are quiet, all right? But I just want to caution everybody that we are entering into peak time of year climatologically for these tropical cyclones to develop in the Atlantic Basin. And so we look at this general trend, right? We're sitting here at August 17th today, and you see where we are. If we drew a straight vertical line up from this, the red coloring indicates hurricanes or tropical storms. The yellow indicates frequency or storms per day over a 100-year period for hurricanes, the yellow coloring, hurricanes. Look at how it peaks around September 11th, September 12th. So we are on that upward climb in the frequency of tropical cyclones in the North Atlantic Basin between now and basically around the middle of September. Do not let your guard down, because we are, in that climatological rise right now. Right now at the top, this is showing you the accumulated cyclone energy index, the ACE. Right now, we're not too far off, believe it or not. I mean, we have seen a drought in the number of days in which there's been no tropical cyclone activity in the North Atlantic. But right now in the North Atlantic, we have ACE, accumulated cyclone energy, at 2.8. Normally, by this date, it's at 16. So, yeah, it is definitely below normal. I look at some of these other categories from Colorado State, really not that far abnormally below normal. Maybe named storm days, we're sitting at 3.25, and the average for this time of year is 13.5. And then you also see the other areas in the northern hemisphere and where they're at on their ACE. Generally, in the Northwest Pacific, west of the date line, 180 degrees longitude, they're below normal too. The Northeast Pacific, east of 180 degrees longitude, actually, the ACE is at 80.8, the normal is 61.1. So this is the only really above normal basin right now for tropical cyclone activity. And here is the breakdown of the next 7-day forecast. I kind of covered the whole United States, but now I'm going to bring it down locally for the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. Generally, what we're expecting is partly sunny skies on Thursday, with temperatures climbing into the lower 80s. There may be a few pockets close to 85, but in general, it should be another nice day as weak high pressure builds into the mid-Atlantic. By Friday and Saturday, now the timing might be off here a little bit. It's just dependent on the occurrence of basically the positioning of a warm front as it moves north along with upper air disturbance in conjunction together, working together to produce increased lifting across the Hampton Roads area somewhere between Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. And then Sunday, conditions dry out again as that disturbance moves offshore. The warm front moves to the north, and we're looking at more unsettled conditions again the early to middle part of next week as a upper level trough kind of digs into the eastern U.S. once again, along with a surface cold front approaching. So that's going to increase the vertical lifting across the mid-Atlantic, specifically Hampton Roads, Virginia area, early to middle part of next week. All right, I certainly hope you like this format for the weather map discussion. Just wanted to try something new here at Spot On Weather. And let me know if you like it. Send me some comments. Let me know if you really enjoy this product. I like to break down the weather. At heart, I'm an operational forecaster, so I really like to connect these dots and try to make this discussion as easy and understandable as possible for you wherever you're watching. Whether you have knowledge of weather, let's say you don't have extensive knowledge of meteorology, I like to break this information down rather easily so you can kind of learn the weather as we go and not just, turn on a TV and just listen to somebody say it's going to rain here or rain there. I like to explain the why behind the what in meteorology. All right, that wraps things up tonight for the weather map discussion, 17 August 2022. Don't let your guard down again about the tropics because some of the long-range models are indicating some potential tropical activity across the Atlantic over the next 10 to 14 days. So it only takes one. It only takes one particular system, one hurricane that could really, really be the one. Andrew in 1992 is an example. We got La Nina going now. It's still going. So that would tend to decrease the vertical wind shear across the Atlantic Ocean and allow these storms to blossom a little more frequently. However, we've had a cooler area of water temperatures in the main development region across the Atlantic, as well as a lot of dust coming off of the African continent, which has kind of choked off the updrafts for some of these clusters of thunderstorms in the tropics, just preventing them from developing. All right, that wraps things up tonight. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Again, feel free to leave us comments. We hope that you enjoy it, and until next time, take care. God bless everyone.